We all know her. She's pint-sized, but she's adorable. And here comes our representative from District 1, Heather Scott.
Thank you, Charity. You know, Charity just got involved, and look what she's done. Amazing with this recall. Amazing. So, thank you guys for showing up today. Thanks for coming out, and thanks for not wearing a mask. You know, we need to see each other's faces and see each other's smiles, so thank you. From the very beginning of this COVID issue, many in government have seemed to ignore the facts and the statistics completely. And I'm glad to see that because you don't have a mask on, you obviously understand that the virus is way smaller than a mask. Can go right through it. So if you could just maybe connect with your legislators, connect with your elected officials and educate them, it would be good. Thank you for exercising your freedoms and your common sense today. I really appreciate it. So as we know, the facts don't seem to matter to many of the current decision makers because the narrative does not fit their agenda. And with COVID, so many in government and their lapdog media, which I'm sure they're here today, probably videoing the 4 people with masks, continue to repeat the same old message over and over and over again. Hopefully that more sheep will follow. I'm glad North Idaho knows their rights, they understand their rights, they know where they come from, and we're not going to comply to unconstitutional mandates. We have people who will think on their own, but those who don't think on their own and don't understand where their rights come from, they live in this delusional state of fear. That was clearly displayed last week in Post Falls Walmart when the hysterical woman who went insane over a child not wearing a mask. What kind of world are we living in? No reliable proof exists that masks work against COVID. And even if it did, enforcement of a mask mandate is unconstitutional. And unless the Constitution allows it, governments cannot do it. Where does any jurisdictional government get the authority to order, enforce, and criminalize us and make us use a mask? Nowhere. In a free society, they cannot force you to do something against your will. We are free to choose our own medical treatment. So we know enforcement of masks are unconstitutional, but with so many sheep complying, it's going to become harder and harder to stand our ground. And we're going to need to stand united as a force to be reckoned with. And while I believe the majority of Idahoans are resilient, strong, and loaded with common sense, many signals are pointing to things getting much worse. You know, we'd like to think they're going to get better, but I just looked at some documents last week, and the federal government is currently encouraging Idaho, among other things, to do the following. Recruit more contact tracers as community outreach workers to ensure that all cases and all positive households will be tested within 24 hours. Move to community-led neighborhood testing and work with local community groups. You need to make sure your community groups are not participating in this nonsense. And then the worst, provide isolation facilities outside of households if COVID positive. Yeah, it's coming. It's not going to get better. anytime soon. You know, I saw a great video, and I don't know how many of you saw it, but it talked about it's just a mask. It's only for your protection. And then they're going to say it's just a test. You know, it's just so you won't have to wear the mask. And then it's going to be just the vaccine. And then in other countries, what they're starting right now, it's just the health ID vaccination card. So you can buy and sell. You know where I'm going with this. You know where it's headed. But before you bury your hands in your face, I got some good news. God is in control. And for those of you who read his word, we know exactly what's coming, and we should fear not. And we know what we need to do. We need to be salt and light in this confusion and craziness. You know, we as a nation are being torn apart and divided, and we know it's a spiritual battle. This whole agenda is about dividing us. They're dividing us on issues. They're dividing us on masks. They're dividing us on vaccines, candidates. You know, divided, we're into warring groups to fight each other. The USA is so great. We are so unique because we've always been about the individuals and individual rights and individual decisions, not group rights, not group decisions, because we have a constitution that offers us ways to navigate rather than destroy each other when we don't agree with one another. A constitution that respects our individual rights to choose a mask or not. And that doesn't mean we have equal outcomes. So I want to leave you with some things you can do. Number one, get out of the denial mode and get your household in order. This is happening in Idaho. There is nowhere else to go. People are fleeing here. Alaska, they're not fleeing to Alaska, they're fleeing to Idaho. There's nowhere to go. Get your children out of government-run schools. I could go on for hours, but I'll move on. Get yourselves out of debt and get your life in order so you can start helping others. Remember that government cannot take your rights away. Know who gave them to you. Know where your line in the sand is and help others figure out where the line in the sand is also. Be brave. Stop going along to get along. Stand up, what you're doing tonight. Speak up. Know where your line in the sand is. Don't retreat your line, but advance it forward all the time. There is power in numbers. There were some maskers here, and I noticed they all kind of disappeared when the groups start getting bigger and bigger. There are power in numbers. Shop in groups with other like-minded people who respect your decision on freedoms. Stop being bullied. And then you need to learn the government system to engage in it and fix in it. I was so impressed with Charity. They've never been involved with anything in politics. They just knew they wanted to do a recall. And then looked up all the stuff. They figured out how to work the system, and they have to work within the system to fix it. You just can't demand people step down. If we could do that, we'd turn things around pretty darn quick. The mandates need to be lifted, and the hype pandemic and emergency orders need rescinded, but we have to figure out where the problems lie. Who are the tyrants that are enforcing these unconstitutional edicts?
Panhandle Health.
Is it your sheriff? Is it your prosecutor? Figure out who the players are in the system and how to work through the system. And that means you're going to need to go to these meetings and listen and ask questions. And it is going to take time and it is going to take energy. But Idaho is worth it.
Amen.
And then then you can demand that your elected officials honor their oath to the Constitution. And we need more people to do that. And then last thing we need to do is we need to continue to network. Today is a great opportunity to meet some more like-minded people. Meet your neighbors. Build your communities of self-sufficiency and protection. Support businesses that are going to respect your rights and your freedoms. And try to transition away from Facebook. Remember, all power is in the people. We just need to exercise that power to make things happen. All the speakers tonight that are coming, I'm so proud of every one of them. They've all taken a stand to say, not in my town, not in my community, not in my public library. Everyone was willing to take a stand and to be bold, and I hope you all continue to take a stand up for the truth, be salt and light, and just continue the fight, because we will win. So thank you for coming tonight. May God bless you, may God bless North Idaho, and the rest of our state. Thank you.